a sin to tell a lie. Billions of hearts have been broken, yes, yes. Just because these words were spoken. You know the words that were spoken? Here it is. I love you, I love you, I love you, I love you. Ha ha ha. Yes, but if you break my heart, I'll break your jaw and then I'll die. Be sure it's true when you say I love you. It's a sin, a doggone sin to tell a lie. What I said.
What he said, indeed. It is a sin to tell a lie. Or, so says Mr. Fats Waller. You're tuned to KOI at 5:50 a.m. on your radio dial. This is Jack Williams speaking to you from the studios of KOI Radio in downtown Phoenix. It's another beautiful day in Arizona. Leave us all enjoy it. Too bad folks in the Midwest are still suffering with drought. It sent the price of bread skyrocketing to 8 cents a loaf, and a pound of ground round will set you back 12 cents. We've been hearing a lot about unemployment lately, but O'Malley's Lumber just added a second shift at the 16th Street Yard. Let's hope the weather holds for the rodeo parade next week. Margaret Alice Dupree, our newly crowned cotton maid, will be riding the big float. And now let's take a trip down that lazy old Salt River with music master Hoagie Carmichael.
Up the lazy river by the old mill run, that lazy, lazy river.
Hey, Fred. Why aren't we talking about this?
Oh, that? Yeah, it's too hot.
I'll say a double homicide.
It's too hot.
2 female bodies found in moving trunks?
It's too hot.
They just made an arrest. It's a woman.
Listen to me, Jack. It's too damn hot.
What are you, a weather report? This is front page news.
This is a newspaper. This is radio. We play music. We entertain. We don't do news.
Well, I'm just saying that...
Look, I was in Tom's Tavern last night, and this is what I heard. Too many big shots. Too messy. They don't want any more casualties than necessary. Leave it all to the papers. We can mention it later after it cools off.
In Phoenix, we'll be waiting till Christmas.
Just keep playing the happy music, Jack. That's what we do. That's your job here, playing the happy music, taking out the trash, and leave us all enjoy it.
Mrs. Judd, with bullet in hand and weak from hunger, surrenders in L.A. Says she slew women in battle for her own life? She is easy on the eye.
I did it. Did I? I think I did. I remember pulling the trigger, but that's not the whole story. As for the rest, well, the truth is a tricky thing to pin down. It's slippery, and memory can be downright deceitful. It was so long ago. I was only 26 at the time. Even when you do remember, it doesn't mean you always tell the truth, because the truth can be hurtful. Everyone is guilty of something. I am guilty of many things, but not the crime I was accused of. I confess I had been keeping company with Mr. Halloran. Anne and Sammy were my dear friends, and if it hadn't been for Jack Halloran, they would still be alive today.
Sammy, this is the gal I was telling you about, Ruth Judd.
Happy to meet you, Ruth. I'm Sammy. So you work with Anne at the clinic?
Yes, but I'm just the bookkeeper. Anne works with the doctors and runs the x-ray machine. I could never do that.
Ruth's a bridge player, too.
Great. How about a game on Saturday night?
Well, we need a fourth.
Oh, we know lots of eligible fourths.
Okay.
Well, why don't you stay for dinner and we'll introduce you to a couple of them.
That'd be nice. It's been a little lonely, what with my husband working in Mexico.
And when the cat's away.
Anne and Sammy were my tragedy. Jack was my sin.
What's cooking, cutie?
Oh, Jack, you're such a tease.
Get over here and give your man some lovin'.
But you're not really my man, not while we're both married.
A toast.
Jack Halloran, how do you always manage to find bootleg giggle water?
Connections, baby, connections. You're looking at a prime mover.
What are we celebrating?
Today is Liberation Day. The family is packed off to the mountains until September. Winnie Ruth Judd, will you do me the honor of becoming my summer wife?
Oh, there you go, teasing me again.
Who's teasing? We're free to be together whenever we'd like.
That is nice. I'd love to go out dancing with you, Jack.
We can dance right here in your apartment. Open the window and we can hear the radio from next door. Just the two of us. I want you all to myself.
Oh, all right.
You got any ice?
Soon after that, my husband, Dr. Judd, returned from Mexico, where he'd been looking for work.
I have returned, my love.
You're back early.
Things didn't work out in old Mexico.
I'm sure you'll find something soon. Are you limping?
My dogs are really barking. I believe I'll turn in.
All right.
No, you stay up, dear. I'm going to take my tincture of poppy seed and try to sleep.
I loved my husband, honestly I did, but there was a distance between us. He had been injured in the Great War and developed a fondness for opium. It rendered him useless. I vowed to see Jack no more. I thought my sin was behind me. Then I made the mistake of introducing him to Anne and Sammy.
Come to Daddy.
He started being a constant visitor in their home. I feared my dear Dr. Judd, who I really loved.
And I love you, Ruth.
Yes, I feared Doctor would learn about my previous friendship with Jack.
Get on your glad rags, girlies. Let's find us a juice joint.
They promised to keep my secret, and we went on with our lives. But then around October...
Ruth, I have a job offer in Los Angeles. I'll miss you terribly, my dear.
And that's when the troubles began.
Hear ye, hear ye. This court is now in session. All rise. The Honorable Judge Speakman presiding. You may be seated.
The record may show the jury present, Mr. Andrews representing the state and Mr. Lukowitz representing the defendant. The clerk will call the first 12 names remaining on the list to try this case.
Mr. White, Mr. Landrigan, Mr. Gray, Mr. Patterson, Mr. McPhee, Mr. Lassen, Mr. Thompson, Mr. Lester, Mr. Jones, Mr. Kleinman, Mr. Hilker, and Mr. Coonsey.
Have you formed an opinion in this case?
Yes, I have.
The clerk will swear in the jury.
Raise your right hand. Do you solemnly and sincerely swear by Almighty God that you will give a true verdict according to the evidence in this case?
What's it pay?
4.5 per day and 10 cents per mile. One way.
You bet.
The defendant will now rise. The clerk will read the charges.
In the name and by the authority of the state of Arizona, Winnie Ruth Judd, defendant number 11340, is accused of the crime of murder, a felony. On or about the 16th day of October 1931, she did willfully and with premeditated malice aforethought murder one Agnes Ann Leroy, a human being, to which the defendant has entered a plea of not guilty.
The trial of the century got underway today for Winnie Ruth Judd as she stands before a jury of her peers, 12 men. They will find her guilty or not for the brutal murder of her friend, Anne Leroy. Friend? How does she treat her enemies?
Jack, what the hell are you doing?
Just reading some headlines from the paper, Fred.
I thought we agreed to let this cool off.
It's been 3 months. If it hasn't cooled off yet, it's never going to.
Just wait until the trial is over.
Hold that thought. KOI, Jack Williams speaking.
Hello, Mr. Williams. This is Donna Jean Makowski. I just heard what you said about the Winnie Ruth Judd, and I must say, I find this story fascinating.
It is fascinating, isn't it?
Do you think she did it?
Well, I don't know. What do you think?
Oh, I certainly hope not.
No more headlines.
She strikes me as a very nice young Christian lady.
Psst. When your shift is over, I want you in my office.
Her father's a minister, you know. I went to the courthouse today to watch the trial, but I couldn't get inside. There was a line of people that stretched around the block.
Oh, it's a hot ticket, Donna Jean.
We all saw her walk into the building. Oh, she's such a little itty-bitty thing. I don't see how she could have had the physical strength to pack those poor souls into a steamer trunk. You know what I think?
Not yet.
I think Winnie Ruth Judd is a patsy, taking the fall for some high muckety mucks around here.
Well, now, that's an interesting theory.
I'm going to get there bright and early tomorrow so I can get a seat inside. I'll let you know what happens.
Now, I'm counting on you, Donna Jean.
I want them to put that playboy Halloran on the stand. Let's hear what he has to say. I think she's covering up for that rascal.
Now, you be sure and call back with the latest.
You bet I will. Bye-bye for now.
Bye-bye, Donna Jean. Huh. A cover-up. Now, why would Winnie Ruth Judd take the fall for Halloran? I mean, even if he's good, he can't be that good.
Shortly after Dr. Judd moved to Los Angeles, I moved in with Ann and Sammy so we could share expenses. At first, it was a lot of fun, and we became very good friends. But I soon got a much clearer picture about what they meant by eligible fourths. I found myself caught up in an unsavory way of life.
What do you think, Ruth? Isn't it gorgeous?
I should say so. Where did it come from?
They delivered it this afternoon. Jack Halloran sent it over.
Jack?
Wasn't that nice of him?
Well, that must have cost a fortune.
I saw the price on the invoice when I signed for it. $57.
$57? That's crazy.
He takes such good care of us.
It's so nice having music around the house.
Yes, it is. Nearly as nice as having a man around the house. Don't you think so, Liz?
Well, speak of the devil, don't just stand there, you two. Come on in. Come in. And Dr. Brown, so good to see you outside the clinic.
Hope you don't mind me tagging along.
Of course not. The more the merrier. May I take your hat?
Thank you.
Well, looky here. I see my gift arrived.
My, that's a handsome radio, Jack.
Certainly is.
That's the 5.2 model.
That must have set you back a few dollars.
A mere token of my affection. Hello, Ruthie.
Good evening, Jack. It is a little extravagant.
Nothing's too good for my gals.
All right, everyone have a seat.
Come on, Jack. Let's dance, you and me, cheek to cheek.
Well, I guess you don't need to twist my arm.
Ruth, honey, turn up the radio.
8 o'clock, it's time for Sherlock Holmes.
Oh, yes. Tonight he's investigating a double murder.
Ooh, I've got the heebie-jeebies just thinking about it.
Let's take a breather, Anne.
Yes, Anne, take a breather.
It's starting.
It's the Sherlock Holmes Mystery Hour. The adventures of the world's greatest detective, who with the aid of his trusty colleague, Dr. Watson, solves the strangest crimes of Victorian England.
Come, Watson, the game's afoot.
Tally-ho, Holmes.
When the constabulary are baffled, when evil rears its hideous head, when the innocent cry out for truth.
Sherlock Holmes at your service.
Tonight's mystery, Homicide ×2. The Sherlock Holmes Mystery Hour is brought to you by Luminol.
If you're tired of counting sheep, here's a way to get some sleep. Rain or shine or cold or heat, Luminol just can't be beat.
When sleep is essential, Luminol is eventful. Available at all finer drugstores. 5 minutes, Fred. That's all I need.
All right, Jack, pull up a chair and let's hear what you got.
Winnie Ruth Judd.
What? Haven't we already settled this? You think I haven't seen these? It's crazy, but this is news. We make entertainment.
You don't think people find this entertaining?
Oh, it's salacious.
Well, you've been reading the dictionary. Sit down, Fred. It's salacious, all right, and people can't get enough of it. The courtroom has been packed every day. It's front page on every paper in the country. Everyone wants to read all about it. But what if everyone could hear all about it?
Hear it? You mean microphones in the courtroom? Judge Speakman would never allow it.
No, I mean, we hire a writer to sit in the courtroom. He writes down what everyone says that day, and then we recreate the proceedings the same night on the air.
You mean with actors?
Yeah, just like Orson Welles.
Is that even legal? No, it's too gruesome. I mean, cut up bodies, blood all over the place. At least one of those party girls had to be a lesbian.
Oh, don't be so conservative in your estimation, Freddie, my boy. It takes two to tango. I have discussed Winnie Ruth Judd on the air exactly twice. This is yesterday's mail regarding same. The switchboard's been lit up all day. Calls offering theories, personal messages for Winnie. People can't get enough of it. There's an audience for this, Fred. Here, look at this.
The truth about Winnie Ruth Judd. Where'd this come from?
Her brother. He's selling it to raise money for her defense.
I thought Hearst was picking up her legal tab.
William Randolph, I own every newspaper on the planet, Hearst. Yes, he is now, but her brother's still selling the magazine, probably to make a little something on the side. Look, why shouldn't we? Come on, Fred, let's give it a shot. It'll cost less than your tab at Tom's Tavern.
When could you have it ready?
We can go on the air tomorrow night. Oh, Mr. Palmer, meet Stuart, our humble scribe.
Hello.
You see?
Pleased to meet you, Mr. Humble.
Likewise, Mr. Palmer. Wait, my name is that actually...
Lou. He'll attend the trial and set the day's court proceedings to paper.
Well, what's this going to cost us?
$1 a day.
$1?
Huh, I guess we could swing that.
At the end of the day, Stu here will present me with the script, and that evening the KOY players will take to the airwaves with an exclusive live dramatization of the trial of the century.
Well, when you put it that way...
You'll never regret this, Fred. On your way, Mr. Stewart, you've got a trial to attend.
Wow, I never figured he'd say yes.
Technically, he didn't. Now, you're going to need pencils and a lot of paper.
Could you state your name for the record?
Mrs. Jenny R. McGrath.
And where did you live on the night of October the 16th, 1931?
2938 North 3rd Street. In the rear.
Speak a little louder, please.
In the rear?
Oh, you got the scripts?
Yeah, but I never used carbon paper before. I hope they can read it.
Perfect. If I can read it, anyone can.
And about how far from the premises at 2929 North 2nd Street do you reside?
I judge near about 100 feet.
Now, referencing the night of October the 16th, did you hear any unusual noises that night?
I heard 3 shots.
Will you indicate about how far apart the shots were?
Bang, bang, bang. As near as I can describe them. I was in bed in the screen room.
That's all for this witness.
Mr. Lukowitz, you may cross-examine.
May we know your age, Mrs. McGrath?
I am 67 years old last December.
And you say you were living in the rear?
In the rear, directly in the rear of 2938 and to the southeast.
You said you heard shots.
Yes, pistol shots.
Can you distinguish the difference between the sound of a pistol shot and any other kind of shot?
Yes, sir. I've been accustomed to using firearms, shotguns, hunting.
You know the difference between a shotgun and a pistol.
Is he calling me stupid, Judge?
Objection.
I may be old, but I am not feeble-minded.
Please answer the question, Mrs. McGrath.
Yes, I know the difference between a shotgun and a pistol.
After the shots, did you hear any other noises in the neighborhood?
No, it was very quiet, except for the streetcars.
You didn't hear anything like the sound of dragging a box or a trunk.
From 100 feet away? That'd be a stretch even for your young ears, Mr. Lukowitz.
We'll return after this word from our sponsor with more actual testimony torn from today's trial of Winnie Ruth Judd, the Tiger Woman.
Say goodbye to shaving cream and hello to the future.
The Tiger Woman?
You like it?
It's colorful.
It's sexy. The Tiger Woman.
And bye. We're back in 10. Oh, Stu.
Yeah.
Ixnay on the Eigerte.
Okay.
That's the Schick electric razor, available at all finer department stores.
And now we return to the dramatic reenactment from today's proceedings, the trial of Winnie Ruth Judd, the slashing siren. State Prosecutor Lloyd Andrews questions the man who moved the trunks of death, Richard Schwartz.
Referring to the night in question, did you receive a telephone call at the Lightning Delivery Company?
Yes, a woman called at approximately 10 minutes to 10, and the party requested me to call for a trunk to be taken to the station. She gave the address of 2929 North 2nd Street, and I proceeded there.
And was the defendant there to meet you?
Objection, leading the witness.
Sustained.
And who, if anyone, did you see there?
I pulled up to the curb, the front door opened, and a woman came out on the porch.
I'm here. I apologize for the lights being out. I'm leaving, you see, and the power company has shut off the electricity. Please come in.
I was just about to drive on.
The trunk is over here. We'll have to transact our business by the light of matches. I want the trunk taken to the station immediately so that I can make the 10:40 train.
There's no need to be embarrassed, miss. I've seen my share of folks sneaking out on the rent. Your secret's safe with me. Good gravy, what have you got in this thing?
Books, mostly. My husband is a doctor, and he needs his books with him in California.
Lady, you're not going to be able to send this as baggage. Weight allowance is 250 pounds, and this thing must weigh 400.
Well, I can't pay excess on the trunk.
Doesn't matter. It's too heavy to check on a ticket. You'll have to ship it as freight. I can hold it for you overnight.
No, I believe I'll have you take it down to my house. That is, my sister's house, and we'll ship it in the morning.
Suit yourself. Has this floor been varnished recently? The trunk seems to stick to it.
No.
She smiled when you asked her about the sticky floor.
Yes, sir.
If only Mr. Schwartz knew the grisly contents of that gruesome trunk. And what was it that made the floor so sticky? Don't forget to tune in tomorrow night for the next installment of the real-life recreation of the trial of Winnie Ruth Judd, the Blonde Butcher.
Wonderful job, everyone. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Blonde Butcher?
I've been working on a list. The Enticing Executioner, the Dame de la Dismember. What, you don't like them?
Palmer was listening tonight.
Well, I sure hope so. He said it would be salacious.
Do you even know what that word means?
Maybe not.
Good morning, Phoenix. It's another beautiful day in Arizona. Leave us all enjoy it. Say, did any of you listen to the broadcast of the Winnie Ruth Judd trial on KOY last night? It was a real barn burner. Join the KOY players tonight for another dramatic recreation of the Winnie Ruth Judd trial. We really hope we can do it for you again. Fred, we don't have to do this right now, do we?
The Blonde Butcher?
We were just trying to jazz it up a little.
That broadcast last night was...
Well, we can tone it down.
Change nothing. It was brilliant. That was the most compelling radio drama I have ever heard. And do you know why?
It was salacious?
It was the truth. And the audience knew it. It was real. It was reality, Jack. You've invented reality radio. Look at this.
What? Newfoundland? What? Winnie Ruth Judd broadcast. Stop. Fascinating. Stop. Please don't stop. Stop. Sincerely, Florence Noseworthy.
Oh, whose idea was it to call her the Tiger Woman?
Stu, don't run off. Fred has something he wants to tell us.
Gentlemen, I just want to say,
Mr. Palmer, I need some help. The phones, they just won't stop.
I'll be right there, Nancy. She's about to have a nervous breakdown. Isn't it wonderful?
Yeah, wonderful.
Well, what are you doing here?
Well, I work here, so
You should be at the trial, writing.
Trial doesn't start for another 2 hours.
Well, you can't be too early, Stu.
Early is on time in this business. And young man, I'm going to give you a raise. $1.50 a day. Look at these others, Jack. Chicago, Los Angeles, New York.
Wow. I knew our signal really travels at night, but this is something else.
Oh, you bet your sweet bivouac it's something else. Come sundown, when we crank up the power, KOY is heard from Hawaii to the home of Mrs. Florence Noseworthy in Flat Rock, Newfoundland. That switchboard is going to send Nancy to 24th Street in Van Buren. Everyone wants to know more news about Winnie Ruth Judd.
News?
Hell yes.
I thought this was radio. I mean, we just play the happy music, right?
Hand me something to hit you with. This is supply and demand. I demand, we supply. How much longer do you think this trial's got?
Oh, who knows? 3 or 4 weeks, maybe?
Then let us make hay while the sun doth shine, my monocular friend. In addition to the nightly broadcast, I want reports at the top of the hour, every hour, the latest on the trunk murderess. Is that too tame? Or should we go with the Tiger Woman? What do you think?
I think Stu should get $2 a day.
Personally, I love the blonde butcher. We may have to build up to that.
Mr. Palmer!
I'm coming, Nancy.
KOY, Jack Williams speaking.
Oh, finally. I've been getting a busy signal for an hour. It's Donna Jean Makowski again.
Hello, Donna Jean. I was hoping to hear from you. Are you still following the trial?
Oh my, yes. And I must say, you folks are doing a marvelous job with your radio skits. Although the gals in my Bible study group do have a few suggestions.
Do tell.
First of all, we, that is, I and my Bible study group, the Sonoran Sisters, we attend the trial together, don't you know? We think it's important that your listening audience gets the unvarnished truth.
Oh, that's what we're aiming for, Donna Jean, the truth.
Well, when you refer to Mrs. Judd as a tiger woman, it adds quite a bit of prejudicial shellac, don't you think? It's salacious.
Well, by golly, I sure understand that, but we do have to keep the listeners engaged.
And to that end, you could probably skip over some of the more mundane testimony.
Did you have something in particular in mind?
Well, just as a for instance, the landlord, Mr. Grimm, he droned on for nearly 2 hours about the luggage and which trunk measured how wide.
What to your mind is the juicy stuff?
Her bandaged hand, we think it's a bullet wound.
A bullet wound?
It only makes sense that Winnie Ruth Judd got injured in the struggle. And if she did, how on God's green acre with an ocean view did she cut up a body with a bum hand?
The truth will out, Donna Jean. We just need to be patient.
I suppose you're right. And by the way, we can't figure out why Mrs. Judd is only being tried for Miss Leroy's murder.
Oh, Miss Samuelson is the prosecutor's insurance policy.
What do you mean?
If she's acquitted on this murder charge, they can try her all over again for the second murder.
Sweet baby Jesus, that is lower than a serpent's belly. Well, I'm sure it'll all come clear when we hear what Mrs. Judd has to say for herself. The sisters might have to start meeting twice a week.
Oh, really?
Well, you can't talk about eternity forever. Bye for now.